Hey guys, welcome back to VIP Shorts. Tonight, the airwaves are heavy with silence until a mysterious call breaks through, a stranger on the line, a voice from the shadows, and a warning that chills the bones. What if the haunted tales of your city weren't just stories? What if they were waiting for you? Tune in, but remember, some whispers are meant to be left unheard. It was another late night at the radio station, the kind that RJ Sam had grown accustomed to over the years. His show, Midnight Whispers, was a lifeline for sleepless souls, night owls, and people who just wanted to hear someone speak into the abyss of the silent, dark hours. Sam leaned into his microphone, his voice smooth and calm. Good evening, night dwellers. You're listening to Midnight Whispers, and tonight, as always, we're here to keep you company. Call in with your stories, your confessions, or anything that keeps you awake in the dark. The soft hum of the station's equipment filled the quiet studio, the city outside barely stirring. After a few moments, the phone lines blinked with an incoming call, a rarity this early in the show. Sam smiled, glad to have an early caller. "Hello, you're on Midnight Whispers," Sam greeted. "Who's this?" There was silence on the other end, a long, unnerving pause. Sam frowned and was about to ask again when he heard it, a low, raspy voice. "Do you believe in ghosts, Sam?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Sam chuckled softly, though something about the voice unsettled him. "Well, we get our fair share of ghost stories on this show. Why do you have one to share?" The voice on the other end sighed, almost thoughtfully. "This isn't a story, Sam. It's a warning." Sam's smile faltered. He leaned forward in his chair, the air in the studio suddenly feeling colder. "A warning? About what?" The voice chuckled darkly. "You ever heard about the mansion on Blackwood Hill? The one where no one dares to go after dark?" Sam's mind raced. Of course, he'd heard about it. Every town had its haunted places, and Blackwood Hill was the centerpiece of this city's ghost lore. "Yeah, I've heard the stories. Supposedly haunted by the family that died there, something like that." "Not supposedly," the caller corrected, his voice a low growl. "They are still there, trapped, waiting." Sam felt a chill creep down his spine. There was something about the way the stranger spoke that made it sound less like a spooky tale and more like a cold, hard fact. "I've been there," the caller continued, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've seen them. They don't rest, Sam. They can't." Sam swallowed, suddenly feeling like this was more than just a late-night prank call. He tried to keep his voice steady. You've been to Blackwood Hill?" "I have," the voice rasped. "And if you knew what I know, you'd never be able to sleep again." The line crackled with static, but the voice kept speaking, its tone growing darker. "The house isn't empty. Every night the father roams the halls, the children still play in the shadows, and the mother, she waits by the window, watching. But they're not alone, Sam. They're never alone." Sam's heart was racing now. He'd heard dozens of ghost stories on his show, but something about this felt different. Too vivid, too real. He tried to shake it off. "Sounds like a scary place, but we both know it's just an old legend." There was a long pause, and then the voice on the other end spoke again, quieter this time, almost as if whispering directly into Sam's ear. "Do you want to know why they're still there? Why they can't leave?" Sam's throat was dry, his palms sweaty. "Why?" "Because," the caller whispered, "they're waiting for you." A loud click followed, and the line went dead. Sam sat frozen, his pulse hammering in his ears. The studio was unnervingly silent, save for the soft hum of the equipment. He took a deep breath and laughed nervously, shaking his head. "Well, that was something," he muttered to himself, trying to shrug off the tension. But just as he reached for his coffee, the phone rang again. He hesitated, staring at the blinking light. The room seemed darker, the shadows in the corners of the studio deeper than before. He picked up the receiver slowly. "Hello, this is Midnight Whispers." His voice trembled slightly. There was no response, just the sound of breathing, deep, slow, deliberate. Sam's heart pounded in his chest as he leaned closer to the microphone. Who is this?" The breathing stopped, replaced by that same raspy voice, even quieter now. "Look behind you." Sam froze. His blood ran cold, every hair on his body standing on end. Slowly, his eyes flicked to the dark window behind him, where the faint reflection of the studio lights shimmered. But beyond that, beyond the glass, something was moving in the shadows. The voice crackled through the line one last time, sending chills through his spine. I'm already here. The lights in the studio flickered, and the call abruptly ended. Sam turned around slowly, his breath caught in his throat. The shadows in the corner seemed to shift and swell, almost as if something or someone was standing there watching him. And the show wasn't over yet.